Hey, this is Steve Bell with the MedTech Mavericks podcast. I'm going to do today a very brief update on DaVinci 5, as I've been asked by many people to give an update on DaVinci 5. I did go through their system a while ago in a lot of detail. Do check that out on my YouTube. Do follow me on my podcast, the MedTech Mavericks, and do go over and follow me on my blog, which is in howtostartupinmedtech.com. I do tons of posts on there, all about robots, surgical robots, and DaVinci 5 is a lot in there as well. But I have been asked to do a little bit of a brief update. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take you through a little bit through their website and talk a little bit about what I'm seeing out there in the field, what I'm seeing on the DaVinci 5. And I actually did get the chance at SRS 2024 to drive it. So I have a lot better insights now than I did when I was guessing a little while ago. But I am going to start with the website. Now it's important for me to show you some of these things because marketing teams often give a lot away because that's the message they're trying to get to everybody. But it will give you a lot away about the insights to the company. And again, just to be clear, I don't have any internal insights. I don't have any kind of access that you guys wouldn't have. I just have a professional eye. Having done this, I was the chief commercial officer for CMR Surgical for a long time, for about 6 years. And I've been involved in surgical robotics for nigh on, I think, since 1998. So that's a long time. So I've got an eye for some things. And I'm just going to point them out, and you may have seen them before. Let me just refresh the website because I want to show you the first thing that comes up on the website. Okay. See that again, just so you see. So surgery transformed. I have a little bit of an issue with that because there's a lot of people transforming surgery for good and all those things. But what you then see immediately is that what we get here is our most advanced and integrated robotic surgery system ever. And I think that that's important from a marketing point of view, that they are pulling out really heavily there, integrated. I think that's one of the main things that they are, they're really pushing on this system is how integrated that system is, because I think that's really important for the workflow that they talk about. One of the big problems with the DaVincis in the past has been that people say, well, the setup and the teardown takes as long as some of the lower acuity procedures. So what they're trying to do here is integrate everything so that either the OR staff or the surgeon from the console, or the OR staff from the hub, which I'll talk about in a minute, or the tower, the new tower, they can control more of the OR and do more of the setup, and more of it's automated. So you can store your settings in there of what you like, and that just makes everything a lot faster. What that means is that workflow is better, therefore it's better in the main block, but it's also better in sites of lower acuity care, such as ASCs, etc. Let me run through a few things just to remind you what there is here. So here's the main boom. The main boom looks very much like the XI, but I can tell you, having sat on it and driven it, it is nothing like an XI. At the back of there, by the way, just back in there is where the hub is, that I'll show you something on a video later. I can tell you one of the main things that I found with this system is just how incredibly smooth it is. They've done a lot of work to remove friction out of the system in this, and you can tell when you sit on it, it's precise. Now, what do I mean by the precision? Well, what happens is when you move your hands in the controllers, you want the system to almost mimic them exactly, with the same feeling, so there's no lag or latency or judder. And they've definitely worked hard on the internal motors and the gearboxes and reducing friction out the system, because in the past, if you stop something, there's a slight movement. On this, it's silk. It really is. Where you point it, it goes. So that's one of the big things that I did notice driving it. That's the boom, but the same architecture. Clever thing is it's the same as the XI, so therefore they get the same clearances as the XI because the rack and the reach and all those things are the same as the XI. That is one of the biggest advantages they've got, is they go into the US market being able to be capable in all 99% of the procedures that the XI is capable in, and that is really, really important. But look at the graphic here. The boom is set back because for them, that's not the hero shot within this. Coming slightly further forward into the foreground, you'll see their fully integrated tower. And you've got a nice big screen here, which is amazing for the OR staff to look at. And then you've got the tower, which we'll go into more details later, but you've got built-in insufflation, high flow insufflation with automatic smoke clearing, which is really, really important. And that's integrated here to the energy system. And when I say the energy system, I got told off the other day because I was talking energy systems and people didn't understand what I was on about. What that actually is so it's a electrosurgery, diathermy, bovie, whatever you want to call it. But this is delivering simple monopolar and bipolar and advanced energy systems. And what's interesting is I noticed when I was there that there are presets for things like hernia or for colorectal. So it automatically finds some of the best presets. So it's got a little bit of smarts in there as well. And then what you've got under there as well is then the vision system. So this piece down here, it controls the vision system. So all three are technically integrated. So the vision system talks to the electrosurgery talks to the high flow insufflation. They all talk to each other, throw off lots of data, by the way, which is important. But it means that you're always optimizing for the best image. Just an example, you fire up the electrosurgery, you burn some tissue and you throw off a load of smoke. Well, the smoke clearing function of the insufflator kicks in, and maybe the vision system slightly alters as well. I'm not 100% sure on that, but potentially. And what you've got down here is where the main Da Vinci camera system plugs in. So the light source and the camera plugs in down here, and that's a full near infrared today, Firefly, black and white. I'm convinced that there's a 4K full color white light ICG coming to this when they choose to. You got some gas bottles here. Now up here as well, I pointed this out in my first video and I will double down on this. So this is a fully capable handheld laparoscopic camera with near infrared ICG capability. What anybody tells you, it's not just for primary entry, it's also for laparoscopic. And in the meantime, what I've heard on the grapevine is that several hospitals have bought the systems and they've been told, if you use this for a laparoscopic surgery case and don't use the console and the robot, you don't get charged on your pay-per-click model. So I think that's really important. It is a fully capable laparoscopic tower. As I've said many times, they're not going after the tower business, but what I think is that this knocks out a lot of towers. And I've even heard that several hospitals have recently taken full systems with a couple of extra towers so that you only need to move the console and the boom between ORs, where you could move the hub as well, which I'll talk about in a minute. But basically, you've got less things to move around. You have a completely capable laparoscopic tower, so you don't need a separate tower. And it starts to cause some collateral damages to the Strykers, to the Olympuses, and to the Storts of the world, which I've talked about ample in my blog, and go and read that, go into it. But this is the next hero, and this is the big change, and this is the centerpiece that basically, with all the smarts in here, makes it really easy for workflow. And then I'll come on to the console here, which is beautifully redesigned, slightly smaller footprint, slightly smaller weight, a lot of changes in the haptic arms down here. So they've got the force feedback driven, big on ergonomics. And as I run through their video in a minute, I'll remind everyone of the ergonomics. Very good feedback from the field, very good feedback from SRS on the console being a lot more comfortable for people. And then don't forget that in here, and we'll talk a lot about this during today's quick update, is that you've got a much better vision system. So it's brighter, it's got better black points, it's got better color rendition, and we'll see that on their website in a minute. Very important. That allows that when you put a 4K camera on there, you're going to get a really good 4K image. But basically what you can see already is when you look at the menus and everything in there, they're rendered beautifully. And I was very impressed when I went into this. What it does is as well, when you put your head into this, you basically have around you almost a fully controllable smart OR. So the first damage is going to be, the collateral damage is going to be on the tower. And then what you're going to see is as you go into this console here, there will be basically a smart OR. It makes every OR a smart OR. And that means that if you're selling an OR1 or an Endo Alpha or one of the other smart ORs, there's not really a lot of need for it. You do get some different things with that you don't get in here. But basically, I can bring in, with their Tile Pro that's in here, I can bring in preoperative images, CAT scans, MRIs. I can bring in 3D images and sort of have them in a separate screen there. I get really good control of everything, including the electrosurgery, the insufflation from right inside here. And it feels a little bit haptic-y when you're doing that. I liked it. And then the final piece here is the hub. So this is where you're uploading your video and lots of data goes up to the cloud. And I did understand that they did a lot previously local in hospital, but I think that's become a real pain to manage in terms of data storage and things at the hospital. So my understanding is it's now all going to go up to the cloud, and this whole thing is connected. It all talks to each other, and menus you can replicate here, inside here. You can replicate menus up here. You can replicate menus on the hub. And the whole thing is just really well connected. So when they say it's our integrated robotic, that's really what it is. So hopefully that's a little bit of a first overview that I'll give you there. Now, I am going to dive into their video a little bit here. And I've been through this in a lot of details, but I just want to remind you of a few key things. Important is, don't get too bogged down in what the video is. Look at what the messaging is that they're saying behind it, and look at the order that the video comes in. Let's have a quick look at this. So it talks about the next generation, and it really is a next generation. It is so much different under the hood than you can imagine. Yeah,
Intuitive Da Vinci 5 is our most advanced and integrated system ever. It's going to transform surgery for surgeons, care teams, and patients.
And here you can start seeing things like on the hub, where those beautiful graphic interfaces, very iPhone-y, have come into things like the hub. So no matter where you sit on this system, you'll see some. I didn't understand it when I first saw the graphic, but having been on the system and played with the system, I now understand it a bit more. There's the hub there.
I've never seen anything like this before. Force feedback is a...
Right. Straight into force feedback. One of the first things they talk about, so they talk about integration, and then they go straight into force feedback. And I played with the force feedback. Remember, two different slight things. One's force feedback, which is gross movements, and you've got push and pull, and you can feel lateral forces, and if things are pretty hard, and it feeds that back, not in quite a one-to-one, but you've got three settings where you can have low, medium, or high force feedback. And basically, it's not haptics as such. It's part of the haptics group. Think of haptics as, you can feel things with rough, smooth, hot, cold. You're not feeling any of that, but you're feeling here gross feedbacks. Very important that they call that out so early on this video, because I think this is the game changer that says premium systems without force feedback are going to be in trouble.
The first of its kind technology. In preclinical trials, we're seeing up to 43% less force on tissue. That translates to gentler surgery for patients.
Before, we relied on visual cues primarily, but now with feedback, it does give you that extra sort of sense.
It's not something I've seen with any other system. It's something we experience in open and laparoscopic surgery, but not robotic surgery.
As you move your hands,
we're going to be able to control so many more things from the surgeon console now, which I think is...
Okay, straight into getting into the connectivity and through the surgeon console. They want to empower the surgeons. Very important for things like ASCs, where you've got less staff, or maybe less staff that are as familiar with the system. But it's all about workflow. Churn patients through. Lower acuity now start to make sense.
It's really important.
It's really an immersive experience that gives you a next level of control that you didn't have previously.
The ergon.
So that really is, when you put your head in there, it's immersive. You've got the control, you can pick all the menus, you can bring things in. It really does. It makes it immersive. And what's interesting about it is it really makes any OR a smart OR to a certain degree. Doesn't matter if it's a small ASC. You don't have to pay that $400,000, $500,000 to upgrade your smart OR. You've got it in there, right in there. Starting up, you don't need another tower. You don't need a smart OR. You're starting to actually see very good economics on the Da Vinci 5. Okay, beautiful. So that video is good. Let's wing through the website quickly. And again, check the order out. Design for better outcomes by enhancing surgical senses. Force feedback is one of the best, but also the vision system. So they're talking about force feedback and better vision with improved ergonomics. And this is all the senses they're talking about for the surgeon. So why that's important is there's a whole group of surgeons out there who've done laparoscopic surgery in the past who didn't quite get on with the way that a robotic paradigm works within their system. So what this is trying to do is give them a lot of that back. So my SRS talk, I talked about one of the things that there's a whole lot of surgeons who will want that force feedback because they want to be able to feel connected to the patient. And there's a lot of psychology in that. But the better vision system, i.e. the better, is the actual screen is way better in there. When they put their 4K white light ICG camera on, which they will, that's going to be pretty amazing too. By the way, these gimbals are gorgeous. These hand pieces are just absolutely gorgeous to feel. And I was really impressed with it. The touch and the feel of it is beautiful, super smooth. So again, you've got the force feedback, first of its kind technology. It's not the first of its kind. Maybe it's the first of their exact kind within Da Vinci, but fair play to Ascensus. They've had it for a long, long time. And some of the other systems in the endovascular have had some kind of force feedback. So interesting though, they call out that it's 43% less force on tissue in their studies, and they think that's going to cause some post-operative benefits. And there we go. They've got the force sensing in that. I'll just play this video very quickly. It looks like CGI to me, and I don't know really why they've done that. Bit weird. Yeah, sort of CGI-ish. I mean, this looks very CGI-ish. Sure why they did that. But they're showing the difference there between something soft and something hard inside. That's what they're sort of showing there. Then they talk about the best vision systems. The Da Vinci vision system, they talk about the most realistic 3D image with better color and resolution. I don't know where it's gone, but there was a loading thing here. Let me try and reload that back up for you. See if I can get down to that. Let me come back down to that. I don't know why, but their website is bugging out today. I'll give it time for it to reload. Shame, there was a really nice graphic in there, and for some reason today their website is not working. But what it was talking about was the fact that you've got much higher pixels in there in the screen, in the twin eye streams. It gives better 3D depth perception. There's better black contrast. There's better colors. There's better luminosity. And I can tell you, I've been on the XI many times, and I went on the DV5. It's a massive upgrade within that screen, and I think it will help a lot because it's going to catch up with some of the 4K screens that the open consoles are putting onto their systems. So, yeah, pretty impressive. I don't know why the website is just been screwing with me. So, yes, ergonomics is another big one on this. I did talk about this a lot, and I am very impressed with the way that this thing works. Let's have a little play of the video for you there. And what you can see, what they demonstrate on this is that lots of different people in lots of different preferred positions. There's this beautiful thing. It's just so easy to move that to your head. You can see some people want it more forward, some people want it up and down. It's just super ergonomic, and it's got that rack and reach and the tilt. And then within there, you've got, let me try and go back and show you what's in there. So what you've got in there is you've got microphones, you've got an infrared beam here so that if you bring your head out, it stops. You've got microphones, you've got headphones, and it's just a really nice viewer that's in there. Pretty impressive stuff. And I definitely felt a lot more comfortable in it, and it felt a lot more ergonomic to me. And you can move the pedals as well. The pedals can move in and out, which is good as well. So you can get your knee position right when you're sitting at it. They really dig into here the workflow, and I can't stress this enough that this is the insufflator, and it's a single piece that clicks in, which is clever because if you say, well, we're not going to charge you your pay per click for the use in laparoscopy, but if you're going to do laparoscopy and you're going to use their insufflator, you are going to buy maybe $100 of consumable there, which is this is a consumable piece. It's got filters in it. It allows gas to come in. It allows gas to come out. It's a good insufflator in the fact that there's lots of settings for this. Like you can put it into a setting for a certain surgery. You can put it into high flow. What do these insufflators mean? What's important about them is that you've got like the ConMed or the Lexon insufflators that are high flow. So what it means is that if gas gets released from the abdomen, you don't want the abdomen to collapse. You want it to always stay constant. But what you also want to make sure is that you clean the air that's in there. So you've got filters in there that will take out things like smoke particulate, which will be very important. The one thing that people did say to me at SRS, and I got several parts of feedback of this, and several people said to me, yeah, I like it, but I don't like it as much as, say, the Air Seal by ConMed. That they preferred the other sort of dedicated high flow insufflators. But then other people said, no, it's quite good. I quite like it. Again, I think through software updates, if Vinci wanted, if Intuitive wanted, they can change some of this slightly for the insufflation or the flow, or it may be just a question of people getting used to the settings. Either way, I think it's good that it's integrated. I think it's important that it's integrated, but it might annoy some people if they don't feel they're getting exactly what they had with their ConMed or the Lexon insufflators. And there are other insufflators out there that do a very good job of this. But at least it's now a complete tower. So you've got insufflation, energy, vision, all in one tower. You've got your handheld laparoscopic within the tower as well. So you've got two vision systems. You can plug in regular electrosurgery. And just as a note on the electrosurgery, in the past, Intuitive used to have weird settings like 1 to 5 that people didn't understand. So they've gone back now to what people understand, which is the wattage settings. So, how many watts of power you're putting through there, because people just understand that better. So that's just another good example of Intuitive listening to the customers and giving the customers what they really need, rather than just being blockheaded about the fact of we'll have it our way. So I think that's really, really good. Let's continue down on this. Did we get anything on there? So reduce procedure time. So again, just with the whole way that this is done as a setup, the whole way that it's all done either from the console or from the hub on the back of the boom or from on the tower, there is just so much more control from here, and that just speeds up workflow. You've got to think that there's a lot of presets in here, and your system, your mobile phone, if you've got the My Intuitive app, speaks to this. So you can have all your presets done. So as you're walking into the operating room, you can just fire your presets into it. And that's really about this greater surgeon autonomy here, where they can do everything from inside the console, which is pretty impressive. I don't know why there was way more in there in the past. But if you look inside, so they feel that they've got a much stronger sense of control. So you've got all these control features inside, including zoom, including brightness, contrast. You've got standard. You've got 30 degree up, 30 degree down. You've got the endoscope. Let's see some of the stuff that's in here. The pitch of the endoscope, so how much it's rolling within inside the body. You've got some streamlined workflows. So again, this is just, it's a gorgeous graphical interface, and it just makes things a lot easier. Let's play the video in here. Show you some of these nice little bits. So you go inside the console, and it really is like entering into a smart OR. You can look for insufflation. And that, whatever you do in the console goes and happens straight on the tower and happens on the hub, which is really, really impressive. It's got all the instrument information that's in there, and there's the hub. So there's the hub on the back. So all three components really speak to each other. What does that mean? It means for the OR team that everyone's completely connected, right? Everyone's really connected in the OR, and teamwork just works way, way better. Right now, they're going to talk about here actionable insights. That's the next thing about this. They've got this 10,000 times computing power, a little bit of marketing. Everyone's computers have gone up by a few thousand fold on that. So basically, what you've got in here now is that there are tons and tons of data points being thrown off, and now you've added a load more in because you've got things like insufflation pressures that can now help you to understand abdominal volumes and all kinds of stuff. But basically what you've got is you've got all of that coming in through the hub and through the console and through the tower, and everything goes up to the cloud. And then they'll talk about AI because everyone has to talk about AI, right? But it's really, it's a lot of machine learning in there. And what they're going to do is they're going to try and sift through all that data, throw all that data together, and actionable insights, okay? And that's what they call actionable insights. It's got to be things that say, you can't just have data for data's sake. You have to be able to say, oh, by the way, this tells you this, and therefore you should do this. That's the actionable insight. Here's the insight, and here's the action you should take from it. And the data is very, very powerful that's coming off these things now, including things like the full hand movement kinematics, which is going to go in there as well. And what this is going to do, no one's really 100% sure yet, but you might be able to see novices versus experts by the way that they move their hands. A little bit of controversy over that. But you'll be able to link it throughout the whole performance of a procedure. You'll be able to see how you use your instruments, how you use your vision system, how you use your hands, and you'll be able to link that back to the electronic health record and be able to see the actual outcomes of that. And if you get enough data starting to come together, you'll be able to start giving insights saying, if you do more of this and less of this, if you do more of this, if you do it in these steps or this action, or you do it in this procedure steps, you potentially get better outcomes. So that's one of the things that they've really, really got in there. And that all gets thrown back to you in a really beautiful app. They're not the only ones, CMR Surgical with the Versus Connect does something very, very similar. I think that these guys here at Intuitive have just almost perfected it now. And it's got the full integrated media management as well through the hub that goes up. Let's see if we can see something on there. So you're looking at pitches, angles, movements. You're looking at forces on the instruments. And all of that's getting logged in to this. There's your 3D movement of plots. And it's just putting everything together for you into a really complex app and data system that goes out to your laptop, to your iPad, to your app. And it should give you insights instantly, and it'll show you your performance over time as well, which I think is a really important thing. And here we go, there, 10,000 times compute. I'm going to whip over that because I think it's just a bit blah, blah, blah. Right. Take note here. System is capable of major expansion and remote software over-the-air updates. So this is new, that they can do over-the-air updates, a little bit like a Tesla would do, and major expansion. Keep that in mind because they are going to definitely add a lot of AI compute power into this, and it's going to be doing things like no-fly zones. It's going to be doing things like image recognition. There's going to be all kinds of stuff coming in the next couple of years for this, and it'll all be over the air. That'll be the beautiful thing. Someone catches up with them, and I'm sure they've got most of this ready now, but someone catches up with them on something, they press a button, and all those systems, all those DV5s that are out there, which I'll talk about how many I think are out there I'll talk about it now. I think there's about 100 out there now, and we're talking sort of mid-July. I think there's about 100 systems that are out there now. And I think by the end of the year, they'll get to about 200 systems. And you can contact me if you want to know why I think that and how I've kind of got to those numbers. It's hard to do this. Keeps disappearing. There we go. But this is really about this intelligently integrated hardware. So they're coming back again and talking about how the console talks to the tower, talks to the arms. It's all integrated in there. So everyone knows what everyone's doing throughout the whole procedure. They've really worked hard on this because if you want to get down to the ASCs and places like that, you need that integration. And that is really what's on the website that I wanted to cover today. Do it in the comments and make sure that you drop me some comments on questions that you've got. You can contact me on my website as well. But I did just want to run through some of the main things that they've really got on their site today, and some updates that they've got on their site today. catch me on my How to Start Up in MedTech blog. You'll get lots of insights on robotics, not just Da Vinci, but there'll be a ton of stuff over there. And do keep on with the podcast. Do follow these videos, follow the channel, like the video as well. It does help me a lot. And reach out to me at steve@howtostartupinmedtech.com if you've got questions and you want me to go deeper. I try and do these things as just little updates. The mid-year update is, I think there are about 100 systems placed. Several of those systems have bought 3, 6, or 15 or more. Some of them have bought multiple towers to go with it, or bought is a big word. They're all going in on leases, pay-per-click models of some description. And the general feedback that I'm getting from the marketplace is that it's a winner. It's absolutely, it's moved ahead of everybody else. Again, the force feedback has moved ahead. Half people like it, half people don't like it, but it's got the feature set. And the one killer thing that they did that has got everybody on the back foot is that they're able to do with the Da Vinci 5 tomorrow across the US, all the procedures to do with the XI. So I've said this a million times, it's in my blog. If you can only come and be able to do, say, hernia or one urology procedure or an umbrella procedure of urology, your robot is not a commercially viable system. It's a curiosity. So that's basically what it is. So that's it. So that's it for today. If you, as I say, if you want anything more information, just please do reach out to me. I'll try and do more of these updates. It's not as elegant when I do these, but I think it's just faster and I can get my information to you way faster. So thanks everyone, and join me soon for another update on surgical robotics.